Less than 1 hour ago, police released these brand new images of the suspect.
This comes a day after searching sent the NYPD underwater. Earlier this afternoon, a police scuba team was spotted in Central Park searching the pond near Bethesda Fountain for clues to find the killer.
That area is not far from where investigators discovered a backpack believed to be the killer's.
It's day 5 of the Manhattan manhunt, and each day the cops are closing in on the hooded vigilante. New York has cameras all over the place. I've been to New York and I've seen this myself, especially around the new World Trade Center. And so all the cops have to do is Jason Bourne this guy's ass, track him literally from camera to camera. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. And thus far, the authorities have plotted this route the perp took through Manhattan. They know where the perp stayed. That is big because he would have encountered others in the hostel, such as a girl he flirted with at reception when she asked him to show his face. The fact that he stayed at a hostel to begin with, some are saying, is a major clue. I mean, in terms of his financial situation, and that the motive probably has something to do with money. The have-nots versus the haves.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. By the way, if you're new to this channel, I've written many books on many different cases, from mass shooters to the JonBenet Ramsey case. I've also covered on this channel perpetrators like Thomas Crooks, Carly Gregg, and Colt Gray. Earlier this year, I jogged from Manhattan into Central Park. I visited Manhattan several times already. I actually stayed in a hotel not far from where Rex Heuermann worked and was ultimately arrested. So this case actually cuts quite close to home, and I have to say I'm quite troubled by the support this killer is getting, aren't you? Even on social media. I mean, look at this headline. There was also something going on where they had some kind of competition, a lookalike competition, almost turning the perpetrator in this case into a folk hero. What do you think about that? Personally, I wouldn't lose too much sleep over TikTok's top sleuths not getting involved in this case. The best of TikTok's, the best of the best did exactly 0 to find Jay Slater when he was missing for almost a month. And so what to me is deeply disturbing is that some folks seem to want to turn a murderer, this shooter, basically a vigilante, into a kind of folk hero. Are you one of those people? Because this is the real world, and it really does feel like America has turned some sort of corner and is headed for a weird, trigger-happy dystopia. And I'll deal with that in more detail at the end of this episode. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile and you haven't subscribed, please do. You can also like, share, and if you really find this meaningful, hit the thanks button, and let's get started. So this is really my assessment of this case. I've obviously been following it. This is my first video really dealing with it. And it seems that this shooter is playing a game with the media. The fact that he left Monopoly money in his discarded backpack suggests to me that he wanted it to be found, and he wanted to send a message. Besides that, you probably heard that he wrote words on each of the rounds found at the scene. He wrote delay, deny, depose, very likely a twist on the phrase delay, deny, defend, which is the classic way insurers deny payment. It was also the title of a book that came out in 2010, which was highly critical of the insurance industry.
Police are getting closer to identifying the suspect in the United Healthcare CEO's murder. Authorities say they think he dropped a burner phone in a water bottle that one official says had a smudged fingerprint on it. Investigators also say they found the words depose and delay written on a shell casing and a live round, which was found there at the scene.
I think there's a very clear motive here, not only in the form of a vendetta, but also to send a message using symbols. And what did the Joker say?
It's about sending a message.
sending a message about money and greed. Now, the message may be true, but the execution, I'm not sure, is so truthful, honest, or moral even. I think it's a very cowardly thing to do, to shoot someone in the back, no matter who it is. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a matter of time before the shooter is caught. Why? Well, he's just left behind far too much evidence. According to NBC, quote, the gunman made sure to conceal his identity with a mask during almost all of his time in the city, actually 10 full days, including during the attack and while he ate, yet, and this is so important, yet left a trail of evidence in view of the nation's biggest city and its network of security cameras. I also get a computer gamey sense in terms of this crime, don't you? Back to the article, the gunman arrived in New York City on November 24th and shot Thompson 10 days later outside his company's annual investor conference at a hotel just blocks from Radio City Hall and the Rockefeller Center. The only reporting on this case that has really stood out to me, really resonated with me, is this from Chris Cuomo.
Are all metaphors for the same proposition. Who are we becoming?
The answer to who are we becoming is, if you ask me, we are collectively, culturally, and individually becoming increasingly unhinged, unscrupulous, uncaring, and uncivilized. That means a world that is a lot more chaotic, uncertain, and scary than the one that came before it. You may like the idea of someone picking up a weapon and shooting someone you don't like or don't agree with, until it's you that's the target, until it's your neighbor that decides he has the right to act if he disagrees with you or doesn't like your politics. This is a new lawlessness, but it's hardly surprising when you have the likes of, don't laugh, John Ramsey and many, many others, Karen Reed, turning law enforcement into the bad guys. In John Ramsey's case, that has been happening over a period of decades, but there's so many other cases, the McCanns as well. And when a society doesn't trust the law, what do they do when they feel helpless? Some, especially the more unhinged among us, take the law into their own hands, and it seems to be within a theater of a lot of other people applauding. And that to me is the most shocking thing of all. Where does that road lead?
Because you have been down there, Neo. You know that road. You know exactly where it ends.
Thank you for listening. Take great care, and I'll see you guys next time.